Number 10. Benny Davis. In 2020, 57-year-old Benny Davis was riding his bike through a Fort Walton Beach neighborhood in Florida. Suddenly, a man in a Ford pickup truck pulled beside him. Without warning, he aimed a crossbow and shot an arrow into Davis's head. The cyclist was rushed to a local hospital with severe head injuries. According to subsequent reports, Davis was released from the facility after his condition was stabilized. The police identified the car and named the suspected attacker as 42-year-old Matthew Ross Peters. They then spotted the vehicle outside a Sea Breeze Inn. Officers established a perimeter and surveillance showed Peters exiting his room armed with the crossbow. He was arrested without further incident. His motives for shooting the cyclist remain unknown, but he might have been acting under the influence of methamphetamine, which was also found in his possession. Number 9. Paul TOYNE. In 2020, a man riding his bike in Greetwell Quarry, England, narrowly avoided death after his neck got impaled on a stick. 32-year-old Paul TOYNE was out on his daily exercise routine when he tumbled over a 10-foot cliff. As he fell sideways, a branch that was about as thick as an index finger got lodged in his neck. A friend called the emergency services and TOYNE was airlifted to Hull Royal Infirmary. Doctors successfully removed the stick, which fortunately had missed the major arteries in the man's neck. TOYNE was set to make a full recovery after receiving stitches to mend the gaping wound. Number 8. S.J. Brooks. In May of 2018, S.J. Brooks and his friend Isaac Cedarbaum were mountain biking on a remote trail outside of Seattle, Washington. The pair, both in their early 30s, were attacked by a mountain lion, also known as a cougar. At first, they'd managed to scare the animal away by making noises and hitting it with the wheels of their bicycles. The cougar ran off, but then circled back and pounced. It brought Cedarbaum to the ground and clamped its jaws on his head. Brooks tried to run away, but by doing so, triggered the cougar's chase instinct. It relinquished the hold on Cedarbaum and went after Brooks instead. Cedarbaum, who had sustained deep wounds from the cougar's claws, rode his bike for 2 miles, trying to get a signal on his phone and call for help. He managed to reach the emergency services.
911, what are you reporting?
Help, I got attacked by a mountain lion. Me and my friend. I'm up in
Where are you?
I don't know where I am.
Where are you?
Oh, I'm near Mount Si. I was following. I went north out of North Bend on a trail up in the logging route.
Okay, stay on the line for the fire department. Hang on just a moment, please.
Cedarbaum was taken to Harborview Medical Center with injuries that were deemed serious but not life-threatening. The authorities returned to the site of the attack and found the cougar standing over Brooks, whom it had fatally mauled. The beast had actually dragged the victim back to the woodline. It evaded the encounter with the authorities but was ultimately tracked down with dogs and killed. The cougar was a male weighing around 100 pounds, which is 40 to 80 pounds underweight. While hunger is believed to have been the main reason behind the attack, its brain was also examined for diseases such as rabies, which would have made it more aggressive. Number 7. Peter MCCOMBIE. In early July of 2020, an elderly man was fatally struck by a cyclist on London's Bow Road. 23-year-old Emir Loka reportedly jumped the red light. While going an estimated 15 miles per hour, he plowed into 73-year-old Peter MCCOMBIE, who was on a pedestrian crossing. According to witnesses, he told the pensioner, "Look what you've done," as he picked up his bike. Loka fled the scene as MCCOMBIE lay bleeding and unconscious on the road. He was hospitalized with a fractured skull and passed away from severe brain injuries 8 days later. Near the end of July, Loka turned himself into the authorities. The man, originally from Albania, was charged with manslaughter. He told the authorities that he'd fled the scene in a panic, both because of what had happened and due to his immigration status, which wasn't finalized yet. Number 6. Shawn Bradley. Shawn Bradley, a former player in the NBA, became paralyzed in early 2021 following a bike collision in Utah. Bradley is one of the tallest athletes to have ever competed in the organization. At 7 feet and 6 inches, he towered over Michael Jordan by more than a foot. Following his retirement from professional basketball in 2005, Bradley became an avid cyclist. It helped him keep his weight down, and on several occasions, he went on rides of 100 or more miles. In 2011, he told a media outlet that cycling was like a mental game and that after riding his bike in the morning, he wanted to eat healthy the rest of the day. On January the 20th of 2021, the 48-year-old was struck from behind by a motorist while riding his bike near his home in St. George. Bradley fell on a parked car and sustained a traumatic spinal cord injury that left him paralyzed from the waist down. He underwent neck fusion surgery and months of rehabilitation at a local hospital. According to a statement by the Dallas Mavericks, his former team, Bradley planned to use the accident to advocate for bike safety. Number 5. Swooping MAGPIE accident. In September of 2019, an elderly Australian cyclist suffered a fatal crash while trying to fend off a swooping magpie. The unnamed 76-year-old was riding through a park in Wollongong, New South Wales, when the bird attacked. As he was trying to escape it, the man veered off the path and into a park fence. Paramedics attended to him at the scene, but he was later pronounced dead at a local hospital. While such fatalities are quite rare, there have been other reports of magpies swooping down on pedestrians and cyclists at the park. The birds are particularly aggressive during mating season and will swoop down on perceived threats to their territory. Number 4. Daphne Tombanakis. In July of 2020, a cyclist on a cross-country trip was fatally struck by a pickup truck in Maple Ridge, Canada. 24-year-old Daphne Tombanakis had previously ridden through Poland, Greece, Turkey, and many other European countries. She'd recently returned to Canada after spending a year studying in Colombia. Tombanakis felt that she hadn't seen enough of her home country and decided to ride her bike from Vancouver to Montreal, where her parents and sister lived. The trip would have seen her travel over 3,100 miles in 50 days. Tombanakis was at the beginning of the trip when she was struck by a Ford pickup. She succumbed to her injuries at the scene. The driver, an unnamed 37-year-old man, reportedly cooperated with the police. The authorities have stated that drugs or alcohol hadn't been involved in the accident, but did ask witnesses to step forward to provide further details for their investigation. Number 3. Alessandro Zanardi. In the 1990s, Alessandro Zanardi was a kart world champion who also drove Formula One. His career was on the rise until a kart accident at the 2001 American Memorial resulted in the amputation of both his legs. Zanardi wouldn't be deterred by the injury and returned to racing in 2003. Not only that, but he also became a prolific competitor in hand cycling, which is a form of Paralympic cycling. Zanardi won gold and silver medals both in the 2012 London Paralympics and in the 2016 Paralympics in Rio de Janeiro. In the summer of 2020, however, Zanardi suffered a devastating accident that left him battling for his life. While taking part in a competition in Italy, his home country, Zanardi lost control of his hand bike while going downhill. He veered into an oncoming truck and was struck, sustaining severe facial and cranial trauma. Zanardi was airlifted to a hospital in Siena and later transferred to Padua so that he could be treated closer to his home. For months, he remained in serious condition and underwent multiple facial reconstruction surgeries. According to the latest report from January of 2021, Zanardi was able to speak again. Today's topic was requested by Pierce M. Stelter. If you have any other topics you'd like to learn about, subscribe and let us know in the comments section below. Number 2. Brad Treat. In 2016, 38-year-old mountain biker Brad Treat was killed by a grizzly bear on a trail outside Glacier National Park in Montana. He was in the Half Moon Lakes area when he stumbled upon the bear while accompanied by a second rider whose name wasn't released. It's believed that Treats accidentally collided with the bear at high speed after rounding a blind curve on the trail. He flew over the handlebars, either onto or over the massive beast. He shattered both wrists while attempting to break the fall with his hands. Treat's riding partner, who was about 20 yards ahead of him, turned around to see the very big brownish-black bear standing over him. Neither rider had weapons, bear spray, or their cell phones. Lacking the proper resources to intervene, the second rider went to get help while the grizzly was focused on Treat. When responders arrived at the scene, they found that Treat had been mauled to death. His helmet had also been bitten to pieces. Bear experts believed that the attack hadn't been predatory in nature, but a reaction to the grizzly feeling threatened. The authorities launched a search for the animal, but it's unclear if they ever found it. Number 1. Las Vegas crash. On December the 10th of 2020, 5 cyclists were killed and several others were injured on a road between Boulder City and Searchlight, Nevada, after their group was hit by a box truck. About 20 cyclists were on an annual 130-mile ride through the desert in Nevada and California, while accompanied by a Subaru Outback support vehicle. It carried water, snacks, and spare tires for the trip. 45-year-old Arizona man Jordan Barson, driving his regular route in an Isuzu box truck, was behind the cyclists and the accompanying vehicle. At some point, the group split into two, with the stronger cyclist riding ahead of the Subaru and the others drifting behind it. Barson lost control of his vehicle and struck the trailing cyclist before rear-ending the Subaru. 7 cyclists were ejected from their bikes as they were impacted by the box truck. 5 of them died at the scene with their bodies horrifically mangled and contorted. The victims, the majority of whom were Las Vegas residents, ranged in age from 39 to 57. The Subaru's driver and the other cyclists injured in the crash were later stabilized. Barson, who wasn't hurt in the accident, told the officers that he'd fallen asleep behind the wheel. Blood tests would later reveal that he had a high level of methamphetamine in his system. He admitted to having taken the drug the day before the crash and claimed that he'd had trouble sleeping afterwards. Barson faced a dozen felony charges that would see him spend multiple decades in state prison. Thanks for watching. What topic do you think we should do next? Let us know in the comments section below.